It's up for 5 Academy Awards, including Best Picture, Best Director, and Best International Feature. It is the Zone of Interest, or as I call it, the Zone of Boredom. Let's talk about it. Hey guys, Dan here. This is Dan Reviews It. Welcome to my review for the new film, The Zone of Interest. This is playing in select theaters right now in select cities as well, but it is probably not going to be at your big chain theaters, the big multiplexes, so you may have to seek this one out at one of your more independent theaters or one of your art houses near you. If you don't have one of those, well, hopefully this will be available for you to watch before the Oscars on demand or something like that, because this is up for many awards, Best Picture among them. And in fact, this is my last Best Picture review. I've taken all 10 of the Best Pictures over the last 6 months or something, and reviewed them all, starting way back in the summer with Barbie and Oppenheimer, and most recently Killers of the Flower Moon and American Fiction, and now this one, The Zone of Interest. So you can check out all of those reviews on my channel, and with that in mind, please consider subscribing. Like this video, comment below, let me know. Look, I may be in the minority here. It's got like a 90% or something on Rotten Tomatoes. It obviously is hitting chords with a lot of people. It's up for a lot of awards, but boy, this movie did not do it for me, and we'll talk about why here in just a moment. But this was directed by Jonathan Glazer, who is up for Best Director as well, and he's done of a few acclaimed movies over the year, including Under the Skin with Scarlett Johansson. This is based on some real events, and certainly real people, but it's based on a novel as well from 2014. It is about the German Nazi commandant Rudolf Haas, played by Christian Friedel here, and he is trying to build a life with his family and his wife as well, played by Sandra Hüller, who has, by the way, another Best Picture nominee in Anatomy of a Fall. I wasn't positive it was her in this movie, because she just doesn't, they don't give her character a lot of emotion or whatever. In Anatomy of a Fall, she was, given a lot of heavy lifting, whereas here she's more, in the backdrop, I guess, or whatever. But no, it is her. So she has 2 Best Picture nominated movies. That's pretty impressive. But the new home for this family is right next to one of the concentration camps at Auschwitz. So obviously, leading to perhaps some drama, but I really did not find that to be the case, to be completely honest. I find this movie to be very boring. So essentially, we're taking a look at this family's life, next to Auschwitz, and how they're dealing with it, how they're reacting to it. And the truth of the matter is, they're not. They just go about their day-to-day lives, and we as the audience, hear horrible, horrible noises. The screaming, and we see ashes coming down in some scenes, and so obviously something that is a bit more visceral for us watching becomes routine to them. They don't even pay it any mind. They don't care. And that is, I think, sort of the point, one of the points that this movie is attempting to make, and that's fine. But for an hour and a half or more of this going on, and they're just kind of going about their business, talking about routine things, the kids, playing with their toys and their soldiers or whatever. Okay, it's so boring. Say something. Say something more about what is happening. And there's a little bit of a rift when the commandant is asked to relocate, and so he does that while the rest of his family stays there, and so there's a little bit of tension there. But also, I am not really sympathizing with the Nazi commandant. I don't care. Go wherever you want to go. I don't care about you or your family. So to me, this was just like, I'm not sure what they were trying to convey, other than, okay, this is very routine for them. They're not paying any mind to all of the horrors that are going on in their backyard. I understand that, but there have certainly been movies that have done it way better, with way more of a connection. Boy in the Striped Pajamas certainly comes to mind for me, but there are a lot of movies about this subject that are a little bit more sympathetic to those in the camps, for one thing. And then the director Glazer, there's a lot of like weird sort of things happening in this movie that don't really pay off. There's a couple of scenes at nighttime with this sort of negative photography and this girl, but it doesn't really go anywhere. And then we have these long stretches of just some noise underneath nothing on the screen. Like when the title card first comes up, the zone of interest, we have this very, very brooding orchestration that continues to very slowly sort of slow down and go into a minor key and all of this. And it definitely creates a very eerie feeling for the beginning of the movie. But that happens for like 2 minutes and there's nothing on the screen. We're just listening to this music get more, sort of horrible and on purpose. And okay, but that's it. Yes, it gave me an uneasy feeling, and I know that was the point. But that happens a couple of times in this movie. And so look, I think I sort of know what we were going for here. But boy, it just did not work for me. I was bored with this movie. I will say there are a few times when shots that we're seeing are really interesting. There's some overhead stuff, and I can appreciate that. The work certainly behind the scenes went into the sets and the ashes falling and all of that. But the most compelling part of this movie by a clear mile is in the last couple of minutes. And I don't want to spoil it if you do end up seeing it about exactly what is happening. But that to me was like the starkest thing of like, oh my God, but that's because it's the only real part of the movie that kind of focuses on the horrors that happened at Auschwitz, as opposed to this family who's going about living their lives with no never mind to any of it. A swing and a miss for sure. But you know what? I didn't really like Under the Skin either. So maybe this director's just not on the same page as me. I'm not feeling his work. I will give it to this movie. One of the awards it's nominated for is Best Sound. I think that makes sense. But Best Picture, Best Director, I don't see. Best International Feature, I didn't see any of the other ones in that category. Anatomy of a Fall is not up for that. France chose a different movie, so I can't really speak to that. But Best Screenplay, Adapted Screenplay, no, I don't see that either. So this one just really missed me. Obviously, I'm in the minority here, but for me, I leave The Zone of Interest with a C. By far the worst of the Best Picture nominees. But like I said, this is the last Best Picture nominee I needed to review, so you can check out all the reviews for those Best Picture movies on my channel. All right, thank you for watching Dan Reviews It. We'll see you next time. Bye.